Welcome back. In this video, we're going to go through the checkbook module inside accounts. The checkbook is where you can manage checks, vendor payments, payroll checks, purchase order payments, bank balances, bank activity, and reconciliation. This module connects directly with other areas of the back office, especially purchase orders, daily book, payroll, and bank reconciliation. So whenever a check is created from a purchase order, an expense, payroll, or even manually, it can be tracked inside the checkbook. Go to Accounts and select the checkbook from there, or just search it from the Smart Search instead. Once the checkbook opens, you'll see the bank drop-down on the top left. If your store has multiple banks set up, make sure you select the correct bank before reviewing or creating any checks. The selected bank controls which check records, balances, transactions, and reconciliation details you are viewing. The checkbook balance versus bank balance. Across the top, you'll see two important balances. The first you'll see is checkbook balance. This is the balance based on the activity recorded inside the back office. The second is the bank balance. This is the balance related to the actual bank account, especially when the bank is connected or synced. These balances help you compare what the system says against what the bank says. If the numbers do not match, that usually means they are pending checks, unreconciled deposits, bank transactions, or adjustments that still need to be reviewed. On the main checkbook tab, you'll see the list of checks created in the system. Each row shows details like the check number, status, check date, written date, pay name, category, assigned PO IDs, amount, memo, and who created the check. This list can include vendor checks, expense, payrolls, and checks created from the purchase order. Creating a manual check. If you need to create a manual check, click the check button on the top right. From here, you can choose single check, bulk checks, or payroll checks. For a basic check, select single check. Enter the payee name, amount, bank, memo, and any other required information. Once saved, the system will generate a check preview. After the check is created, it will appear in the checkbook list. For bulk check, if you need to write multiple vendor checks at the same time, select bulk checks from the check dropdown. You can enter vendor details, add each check, and then print all selected checks from the bulk check list. This is useful when you need to process multiple vendor payments together. Payroll checks. You can also create payroll checks from the same check dropdown. If you're using Cronysoft time clock, payroll checks can be generated based on employees' hours. If you're not using time clocks, you can manually enter employee hours before printing payroll checks. We'll cover payroll checks in more details in a separate payroll video. Now let's look at how the checkbook connects with the purchase orders. When you create a purchase order and the vendor needs to be paid, you can go to Price Book, then select Purchase Orders. Find the purchase order, click the three-dot menu, and select Pay. This opens the purchase order payment window. Over here, you can select the purchase order or orders you want to pay. Click New Check. The system will create the check using the vendor and payment amount from the selected purchase order. This saves time, and it also helps keep the check connected to the correct purchase order. Once you save the check, it will be saved in the checkbook history once you go and visit the checkbook module. Assigning or unassigning PO IDs from the checkbook. If the check was already created but was not connected to the correct purchase order, you can also assign it from the checkbook. In the checkbook list, use the Assign Unassigned PO option. A window will open showing purchase orders from that vendor. Select the correct purchase order and save it. This connects the check to the purchase order, so payment history and purchase order records stay accurate. Why mapping checks to the PO matters? This step is important because it keeps the payment linked to the purchase. The purchase order shows what was purchased, the checkbook shows how it was paid, and the assigned PO ID connects both records together. That way, when you review vendor history, open payments, reports, or bank activity, everything is easier to track. The Check Reconciliation tab. This section is used to mark checks as reconciled once they have cleared or been confirmed. For example, if you wrote a check to a vendor, the check may show in the system immediately, but it may not clear the bank right away. Once the bank confirms that the check was cleared, either by notification through either text message or emails, as soon as you receive that update, you now know that the check has been cleared from the bank side. So then that means the money has been already taken out of your account from the vendor as they use the check, so you can go ahead and reconcile it from here. Select the check, verify the amounts, make sure the payee name is correct, the bank, the date, and then mark it as reconciled. This confirms that the payment has been completed and matched against the bank's activity. The next tab is the Checkbook Verification tab. This section is used to verify checks separately from reconciliation. Verification helps confirm that the check information has been reviewed and approved internally. This is where you verify the payment once you pay the vendor, and then you reconcile it after it's been verified. If there are no records here, it simply means there's no checks currently waiting for verification under the selected filters. The Balance Adjustment tab. This is used when the bank balance needs to be adjusted manually. This may be needed if there's a correction, previous balance issues, or adjustments from the daily book. To add an adjustment, select the date, confirm the bank, review the original ending balance, and enter the correct ending balance and save it. Once saved, the adjustments will appear in the balance adjustments list. This should only be used when you are correcting or adjusting the bank balance intentionally. And once adjusted, so your ending balance would now become your next opening balance. You may also see a transfer option in this section. This is used when money is moved from one bank account to another. Select the date, choose the bank you're transferring from, select the bank you are transferring to, enter the amount, and save it. This keeps both bank accounts updated properly inside the system. The Bank Transactions tab. This is where bank-related transaction activity can be reviewed. This can include deposits, withdrawals, transfers, and other bank movement depending on how the account is set up and whether the bank is connected. This section helps you compare system records with actual bank activity. The Approved Transaction and Rejected Transaction tabs help you review transactions that were accepted or rejected during the bank transaction process. Approved transactions are records that have been accepted into the system. Rejected transactions are records that are not accepted and may need to be reviewed or corrected. If there are no records here, that means there are currently no approved or rejected transaction under the selected date range and filters. The Bank Balance Statement. This gives you a statement-style view of bank activity. Over here, you can review deposits, withdrawals, total amounts, and ending balance by date. You can expand or collapse dates to see the transaction inside each day. This is useful when you want to have a quick view of how the bank balance changed over a period of time. At the top, the Bank List button that will show you the banks that are available in the system right now. From here, you can see whether a bank is connected or disconnected. If your bank connection is available, you can use the Connect option to sync the bank. If the bank is not synced, some bank activities may need to be reviewed or entered manually. The Import option, this is used to import files in from your MoneyGram or your Western Union depending on whatever you're using. So as soon as you connect your bank in, you'll be able to get your transactions out from there. And this will help when you're working with the bank data that needs to be added into the back office instead of entering everything manually. You can also use the Filter button to narrow down the records by date, bank, reconciliation status, verification status, voided, check number, category, memo, or account. The Summary button, this gives you an overview of pending and deposit related amounts and all the history that is happening inside this window. It's also interactive, so by clicking on them, it will give you further details as well. The report button, this gives you access to check and deposit reports. And the export option allows you to export the records for reviewing, reporting, or accounting purposes. To summarize, the checkbook module is where you manage all your checks and bank-related payment activity. You can create checks manually, create checks from a purchase order payments, assign checks to purchase orders, reconcile checks once they clear, verify check records, adjust balance, review bank transactions, and view bank balance statements. The most important thing to remember is that the checkbook connects your payments back to the rest of the system. Purchase orders show what was purchased, the checkbook shows how it was paid, reconciliation confirms that the payment was cleared, and the bank balance statement helps you review the final bank activity. And that's how the checkbook helps you keep your accounting, vendor payments, and bank records accurate. So that's all for the checkbook module from my side. I'll see you guys in our next module.